What's up, gamers? Today I want to talk about the Anbernic RG DS. I haven't really talked much about the RG DS yet, except for a couple of posts, but this one really doesn't fit the Anbernic norm. Typically, they'll announce a product and within a month it's in your hand. They might release 2 or maybe even 3 videos about it, but they've already released 6 videos about the RG DS and it doesn't even come out for a whole nother month. And it's been kind of a roller coaster ride because when the leaks came out about it, people were very excited, myself included. But then when they announced the chipset and the screen resolution, the hype kind of took a nosedive. Then yesterday they released this video, and now my hype is a little bit restored, and so I just want to talk about it really quickly. Starting with this very first slide. This is kind of a tricky one because they say 2x pixel to pixel scaling and overlay features. Now the resolution for these 4-inch screens is 640 by 480, but I think what they're showing here is a 2x pixel to pixel scaling with the overlay features. So when you scale it without the overlay to fill the screen, it's not going to be a pixel perfect scaling anymore. And a lot of people have been scratching their heads as to why they would choose this resolution, and ultimately it comes down to cost. They really tried to keep this at $100 or less, and I think maybe they would have been better off going for 115, 120 and doing different screen resolutions, but it's too late now and this is what it is. They go on to talk about shaders for NDS emulation. People do love their shaders, and then they start showing off just the glossy look of the crimson red on this black and crimson red model. And I will say that the build quality looks quite nice. And then we get into the really interesting stuff. Dual screens for playing different games. I don't know how useful this is or how often people will do this, but it's an interesting concept, at least, if you want to switch back and forth between 2 games. But then it gets even more interesting with the top screen for gaming and the bottom screen for videos. I can see this feature being incredibly popular, but my question is, where are the videos coming from? Do you have to have those stored on an SD card? Can you stream them from a service? Can we use Netflix? Can we use YouTube? Can we use a web browser? These are questions that they didn't really answer. And then they show off bottom screen for gaming and top screen for guides. Again, another interesting way to use the dual screens. Obviously not going to be used for Nintendo DS games, but I do this sometimes when I'm playing especially retro games and I just want to get through it a little quicker. I'll have the guide up on my phone while I play through the game. So I really like this idea. But again, where is the guide coming from? Is this just a web browser, and can we choose the web browser? Because this is Android 14, and this is something else they don't really answer. Is this a custom build of Android 14, or is it just straight up Android 14? Can we choose between Chrome or Firefox or whatever? Or are we going to be stuck using some kind of stock web browser that may be kind of janky? And there's a look at the Turquoise Blue. I think this might be my favorite of the colorways. I can't really decide. None of them really grab me. I think the Turquoise Blue grabs me the most because it's just bright and colorful, but it's almost too much blue. I wish that there was a different shade or some different colored buttons in there or something. They have gyroscope gameplay. I mean, I wasn't expecting that in this device, but I think that was really smart because some of these games used gyroscopes. They also have the built-in microphone right there in the center. You can see that little pinhole microphone. And then I felt like they gave an oddly long time on the support of the 3DS comic app with the dual screen comic reading. It's interesting enough, but I just can't imagine reading a comic book on this. I don't know. It's just at 640 by 480. I guess if that's all you have, the ebook reading and music playing, again, I'm like, where are the books coming from? Where's the music coming from? Can we choose our own music player? Can you load Spotify on this? That would be really cool. Can you download the Kindle app and read books in your Kindle app? And I could see myself at least trying out that feature, but I don't recognize these apps, and that's what makes me question how usable this feature really is. And here's another example of that. Dual screen input methods. They've got DeepSeek AI on the bottom screen. They have some kind of video player or music player on the top screen. Can we use other AI apps? Can we download ChatGPT or Grok? I just feel like the longer this video goes on, the more questions I have instead of answers. But I like the idea of a sub $100 device being able to be a multitasking device. Like this is cool. And so some of my hype is restored. And then you've got all the specs here, which you've probably already seen. It is running the RK3568. I don't believe we've seen a retro handheld with the 3568 processor before. It has 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigabytes of internal storage, mostly to run Android 14 off of. And then it does support TF cards up to 2 terabytes. And then sometimes they drop some clues in the description, but there's not much more here. It just says that you have a dual screen gaming experience with a variety of interactive gameplay features. You can run different games on each screen simultaneously, enjoy a game on the upper screen while checking guides on the bottom screen, read a novel above while watching videos or listening to music below, or dive into a cross-screen comic reading. There are countless exciting ways for you to explore. I'm not sure that's true. I think we probably could count them. But I tell you what, if I could play a game on the bottom screen and watch Netflix on the top screen, that would be pretty cool and would become an instant budget-friendly travel favorite. And some of the people down here, the top screen is a touch screen. Yeah, I think that a lot of people originally assumed only the bottom screen would be a touch screen, but they're both touch screens, which is cool. One screen for playing, the other one for Subway Surfers. Then somebody else is kind of like me when this thing is 170 with the T820 960 by 720 screens from the 406H. It will be the one to buy. I don't disagree with that. Well, it doesn't look that bad. I was iffy until you played Dragon Ball on the bottom screen. I am sold. So that about wraps it up, I guess. I just wanted to talk about the device because I hadn't yet. I do think that now that we're seeing the actual device and not renders, the build quality does look nice. I think the chipset is definitely capable of playing all the DS library and anything older than that. Obviously, you're going to get some 3DS games as well. And hopefully soon we'll know what the limitations really are on what you can stream or how you can view other kinds of content on this device. But hey, let me know your thoughts about the RGDS in the comments below. Stay kind and encouraging out there, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.